Thomas Warrick is a Senior Fellow at the Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security's Forward Defence Practice at the Atlantic Council. He joins us now live from Washington, DC. Thank you so much for being with us. Firstly, Trump has inched forward on Tuesday on his peace plan for Ukraine, although given what both Ukraine and Russia have said of the conversation, it sounds like he might have overstated the gains. Meanwhile, over in Gaza, another ceasefire for which he claimed personal credit is shattered with this new onslaught by Israel on Hamas in Gaza. Is Trump finding out that ending wars is tougher than it looks?
Well, I actually think he knew that it was going to be tough, but he is a consummate showman and understands that a lot of what is going on right now is theater, security theater, but theater nevertheless. What we're seeing, though, is the hard wall of reality. Wars occur because two sides prefer fighting than resolving their disputes peacefully. And there's only so much that an outsider can do to try to get the countries to see it's in their mutual advantage to make peace with each other. That is certainly the case between Israel and Hamas tonight. Even though Trump does feel very strongly that the hostages should be released, his will alone is not going to be able to either free the hostages or bring about a lasting peace by itself. And then in Ukraine, certainly the United States has leverage over Ukraine and limited leverage over Vladimir Putin. But Trump seems to believe that Putin is more in the right than almost everyone else in the U.S. political sphere would accept. So people are waiting to see how on earth he's going to come up with a deal that both Ukraine and Russia will see as better than continuing to fight.
And given what seems to drive Trump the most at his core is making deals and leaving a legacy as the peacemaker president, he seems to be driven by that. And so I guess one of the big foreign policy questions that there are around Trump is, will he be willing to put pressure on Putin or Netanyahu? So given that need to make a deal, do you think it will come to that?
Actually, the thing that motivates him more is winning. But his concept of winning is that he and, to some extent, the United States come out on top in any deal. If there's a peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, let's not speak of Hamas, let's talk of all the Palestinians, then he's a huge winner. And I think he is wanting that to be one of his legacy achievements. The problem with trying to end the war between Russia and Ukraine is that history will judge a leader very harshly if he negotiates a peace, but it turns out to lead very shortly thereafter to war. This was the fate of Neville Chamberlain, who thought he had peace in our time in Munich in 1938, and World War II started less than a year later. So there's actually a much greater risk for Trump and the legacy he wants to create in trying to somehow settle Vladimir Putin's enormous ambitions against Ukrainians' determination to stay independent.
And Thomas, finally, there's this new US air offensive against Yemen's Houthis, which suggests that Trump is now focused on another goal, cranking up the pressure on Iran to force it into talks on its nuclear program and further weaken its regional proxies ahead of a possible Israel or US strike on its nuclear facilities. So would it be a mistake to think that the direction of this new Trump administration will change?
I think what Trump is trying to do is to achieve a victory in three very different situations. Israel, Palestine, we've discussed, Russia, Ukraine. With Iran, he wants to end Iran's nuclear program, and he wants Iran not to threaten U.S. allies in the region. But eliminating Iran's nuclear program, he could not achieve through economic sanctions. He made light of the Biden and Obama administrations trying to end it through diplomacy. And so this is why the Israelis are coming here next week a little bit nervous over what the military option looks like because Israel, given even all of its military power, knows that the power of the United States to destroy Iran's nuclear program is considerable. And that's why Israel wants the United States to join with it. But Trump has to realize that a major U.S. role in such a strike would lead to a regional war that would go against what he promised his supporters, that the United States would not get involved in wars in the Middle East under his watch. So let's wait and see what happens. Next week is going to be a very tense week for the future of the entire region.
Thomas Warrick, Senior Fellow at the Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security's Forward Defence Practice at the Atlantic Council. Thank you so much for your analysis.